Hello, thanks for joining us. On behalf of the Putnam County Playhouse, I'm Jack Randall Earls, the man in the chair, and today we're getting to know board member Rick McFadden. Hi, Rick. Thanks for coming in today.
Sure, yeah.
I appreciate it. You know, you've been with the Playhouse for many seasons.
Yes.
Since way back in the 20th century. And I'd like to delve a little bit into your experience with the organization. What was your first production here at Putnam County Playhouse, and how did you get involved in that?
The first production was the female version of The Odd Couple in 1991, directed by Jack Randall Earls.
Yes.
And it's kind of a funny story how I got involved. My wife was cast in the lead, Shelley, in one of the two leads, and I was playing a lot of softball. And so she came home after a rehearsal, and I happened to be at a ball game and came home, and she said, would you like to get involved in the Playhouse in the show that I'm in, because they still need one male person to be in the show? And I said, well, I don't know, I suppose I could go over. And she said, well, the director would like you to come over and read. And I told him that you were an actor and had a theater degree from Ball State, and that you've done a lot of shows. And I'm sure that you thought that was, valid, and
Yes.
So I came over and read for the show and got cast as one of the Costazuela brothers. And that was the first show that I was here, opposite Brad Sandy.
Yes, you and Brad. And then you later played the role. Did you all play Jesus again?
Yes. Well,
yes.
I played the other brother with Dustin Bond recently.
When Andrew Rank directed the
Andrew,
version
yes.
The Odd Couple. So you know all of the brothers' lines. You could play either brother.
Well, sure.
Do you have a favorite play that you performed in?
I haven't been cast in too many plays, but the ones that I really have enjoyed was I'll Be Back Before Midnight, directed, let's see, who directed that? I don't remember right offhand. But Keith Bodnarick and my wife had the lead. And so I think that was probably my favorite, because I got to play a kind of a happy-go-lucky guy, and actually was in on trying to convince my wife that she was not sane. So.
Yes. And that was a scary play. That had some fighting and gunplay. Don't try theater at home.
That's right.
Don't. Since you say you haven't been cast in many plays, you must do musicals. What are some of your favorite musicals that you've done here?
Some of the favorite musicals include Camelot with King Arthur, twice, yes. Man of La Mancha,
yes.
Which I really enjoyed doing. 1776 with Ben Franklin, and Fiddler on the Roof.
Okay, now that Fiddler, was that Ernie Ford's Fiddler on the Roof?
Actually, I think it was.
I think he directed that. And that was a very good production, and Shelley played
Golda, my wife.
Golda, your wife, yes.
Yes.
And that was a very, very nice production. Of course, it always is. Vicki Parker has directed a couple of productions of it here as well. It's always a very popular show.
Yeah, I almost didn't audition for that show. I didn't think that I would make a good Tevye. But it turned out to be one of my favorart parts. So.
And the directors thought differently.
I guess so.
Now, you said you were in Camelot twice.
Yes.
What was the difference? What did you find? What did you find different in playing it?
Well, I think just because I had played it once, that I could go into depth a little more the second time with the character. And I think that was the main thing for me personally, was that having been familiar with the part, having done it before, and I did a lot of research too. Read several books about King Arthur and Merlin and that time period of Camelot, and But I think the second time was just a little better because I knew the character and could get into a little bit more depth with King Arthur.
Yeah, of course, I like them both. Vicki Parker directed the first one, and then I directed the
Yes.
second.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly what you said. It was a more mature Arthur. Maybe he had lived a little longer. He had, and we used that prologue of him looking back,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought worked very well. Which I thought,
Yes.
to blow my own horn a little bit. Now, you've directed here,
Yes.
and you also directed for many seasons at Cascade High School, where you
Yes.
were were you the choral director?
Yes, I was the choral director, and I also taught theater
Taught
as
theater.
well.
So what are some of the differences between directing in a school setting and directing at a community theater?
I think the biggest one, as far as directing characters and directing actors, is that you have a different maturity level. In high school, you have a lot of kids who are just starting out. They don't know stage left from stage right. They don't know what character development is all about. And here at the community theater, especially ours, we have a lot of good actors who have a lot of good experience. And you don't have to tell them a lot. You just let them run with their character because they know all about that. So there's a maturity level as far as acting is concerned. Also at Cascade, there aren't so many crews. You have to do it kind of all yourself, especially at a smaller school level. You do it all by yourself. You block it, you teach the music, you build the sets. You know, so a lot of times we'll pick out costumes unless you have someone to do that for you. But here at the Playhouse, it's so much better because you have a lighting crew and you have costumers and you have a construction crew, and so it makes it so much easier to direct here. You can just concern yourself with the acting.
Yes. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a favorite production that you've directed here at the Putnam County Playhouse?
There have been several shows that I've directed for different reasons. The Addams Family was a really fun show, and Seussical the Musical were very fun shows to direct, had very good casts. And then I think Singing in the Rain, which you conveniently have
Yes.
the plate here, Singing in the Rain was probably, it was a lot of fun, but it was probably the most challenging that I've directed. We made it rain here on stage, and then we had to do a film, you know, for the old-fashioned movie scenes. And we had a lot of good help and a lot of good people working on those shows. But I think those were probably the three most fun and challenging shows that I've directed here.
They were certainly all very popular with audiences and
Yes.
well remembered. Well remembered. Let me ask you, Rick, how do you prepare for an audition?
Well, that depends on the part that I'm auditioning for. Especially for a musical, if you know the music to the show, then you need to pick out a song that shows off your range vocally, that is similar in character that you are auditioning for. Any research that you can do, of course, is a plus. Whether it's YouTube or movies, or go to see the show in person if there's one production around. And then to get a hold of a script and read the show so that you know what the show's about, what the character is about. And if there are excerpts from the show that you know are going to be asked of you to read, then by all means, you know, take that little out segment and go over it and read it. And, you know, how are you going to perform that little segment in your audition? So I think those are probably the main things. Of course, the dancing, you if there's any dancing, you really can't prepare for that. You just try to do it as best as you can.
Yes. Well, you know, your two most recent productions on stage were in 2019, She Loves Me, where you played Mr.
Marichek.
Look at us,
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Marriage.
Marichek, yes.
Yes, which was very good. Did Shelley direct
Yes,
that?
Shelley directed that one.
And that was a great cast, and it's one of my favorite shows. And I just I couldn't wait to see it here, and it was wonderful. You did a wonderful job. You also played Daddy Warbucks in Annie in 2018.
And Beauty and the Beast as well that
Beauty
year.
and the Beast, directed by Lee Rieberger.
Yes. And I think I kind of left those two out too for a couple of my favorite shows to do, Beauty and the Beast and Annie. Those were great.
Emery
Great
Allen was
shows.
such a
She's fabulous.
terrific Annie.
Yeah, and she and I've kept touch.
Oh, yes.
And I've gone to several things that she's done. She just stole part of my heart during that show.
She was quite the trooper, and there was great chemistry between the two of you. I know that. Well, another big sellout hit, another big show that I know that everyone who saw it remembers it and appreciates it. Would you encourage other folks to get involved in Putnam County Playhouse?
Well, of course, yeah, and I have. I've had several of my students come over from Cascade and perform here on stage, and adults as well from the community. It's a great place. I love how intimate the audience is. They're right there.
Yes.
I love that. So they're great people that work here. And the history of this place has not been lost on me. I appreciate all of those who have gone before and started it. And throughout the years before I got here, kept it going and improved. And I would like to think that, you know, I've helped to do that since becoming on the board myself. So there have been a lot of great people who have gone before, and I certainly appreciate their efforts. And we continue to make this place better with new technology and doing new things to our audience. You know, the chairs and getting rid of posts and adding spotlights and cameras and, you know, all sorts of neat things.
Moving the pit up.
But yeah, moving the pit from down here to up there.
In the audience to upstairs.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes. Do you have a humorous anecdote about something that happened on stage or off stage?
Well,
one that you can share with us, a different one?
Yes. Well, the same show, I'll be back before midnight. I came out in a black cloak and a mask with a sickle, and I was trying to scare my real wife, the character, trying to scare her into thinking that she was losing her mind. And I was going through this dialogue and threatening her with this sickle, and this young lady in the audience stood up and said, "Stop it! You stop it right now! Stop it!" And that was a little shocking for a moment.
Intimate.
Yes, and I love that.
Yes.
During Oliver, when I was singing Boy for Sale, I was walking across the front of the theater on the cement pad between the audience and the stage. And I got over to one little corner, and I noticed there was a man there, and he was kind of talking with his wife a little bit. And as I approached them, he had an oxygen tank. And he slightly moved the oxygen tank. And as I walked by singing the song, he turned to his wife and said, "See, I told you wouldn't hit it." So things like that seem to happen with our audience a lot. But that's great.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
It gives us something to talk about backstage, besides people who miss their cues.
Yeah.
Okay. In closing, Rick, let me ask you, when you get to theater heaven, what do you hope to hear the director say?
I think I'd like to hear the director say a couple things, and one of them is something that I tell every one of my casts before a show. Leave everything on stage. don't hold back anything. Leave it on stage. Perform the best you can, but give all your energy to the part and leave it on stage. And I think I would like to hear the director say, you left everything on stage. I think I would like to hear him say, well done. You used your talents to the best of your ability. You helped relieve the stresses of life for our audience members for just a couple hours. Well done.
Okay. Thank you, Rick. Mm-hmm. And thank you for tuning in. On behalf of the Putnam County Playhouse, this is Jack Randall Earls, the man in the chair, and we hope that we'll see you all again very soon. Thank you.